What is up everyone, Hero276 here, and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my channel. We have a long-awaited video for you today, and in the advent of the new season, we're going to be trying out Talonflame and Skarmory, both of which recently got buffed. Talonflame got access to the new buffs from Incinerate, bumping up from 15 power to 20 power, and also availability to the new charge move of Fly, and Skarmory got access to a Steel Wing buff, which increased its buff from 2.5 energy to 3.5 energy per turn. So pretty substantial buffs here. I'm going to be trying out both of those Pokemon with a Beanie Hat Quagsire in the lead, also known as Swagsire. So definitely enjoy this one. If you are enjoying the music used in this video and other videos, please be sure to check out my Spotify page, link in the channel description. That being said, let's hop right into it. Alright, and it's going to be a banger today. We got two full sets, leading Swagsire into Arbok. This is a great lead for us. Opponent here is going to stay in for a bit. They are running Bite here, so that's good to know. And now they safe switch into an Ice Fang Mightyena. We were able to grab the shield here with the Mud Bomb, and now we're going to pivot into Skarmory. Skarmory here is going to look to overload on a ton of energy, get it into Sky Attack range, and then we can throw the Sky Attack without having to lower our defense. Now going to go for the Sky Attack. Already the Ener Generation from Steel Wing gives us 2 Sky Attacks. Opponent lets the first one go through. They come in with the Arbok, but on very low HP, we're able to make it to the Brave Bird. Brave Bird one-shots the Arbok, and in the back is a Feraligatr. Now, this is a bit tricky for my Talonflame in the back, but never fear because Swagsire is here. Gonna go for the Mud Bomb. That grabs the shield, and now all we need to do is just reach a Stone Edge, come in with the Talonflame, and look to Incinerate farm down. Opponent has to get the Stone Edge through, but now Talonflame can come in here and Incinerate farm down for the win. Hopping into game number 2, leading Swagsire into Charizard. A good lead for us. Opponent's going to safe switch out of this matchup into Hariyama. I panic for a second and then realize I have 2 flying types in the back, so I immediately bring in Talonflame. Talonflame resists Hariyama's standard moveset here. It's a lot better than Skarmory's matchup here, and I'm able to even sneak through and Incinerate, which is really good for me. Opponent goes for the superpower. I do shield it up, and I farm down. And I have a ton of energy as well. In comes Azumarill, another Pokemon that also received a buff. But they shield up the Fly, and now we can get to another one. This next Fly is going to do some solid damage onto Azumarill. Not as much as a Brave Bird would, but 2 important things result from it. Number 1, the coverage is more consistent, and number 2, we don't lower our defense. So Talonflame getting off multiple moves there is very nice. Anyways, we send in the Skarmory. In comes Charizard. We send in the Quagsire. Quagsire gonna go for the Stone Edge. This will either KO or grab the final shield. In this case, we get the final shield, and I'm okay with it. At this point, we can survive a move from Charizard, but Overheat, as you're gonna see, gets us very low. But Quagsire survives and gets to another Stone Edge. Stone Edge will be one-shotting the Charizard from this health range. And now all that's left is the Azumarill. But Quagsire still surviving the buffed bubbles, able to make it to the Mud Bomb. That gets the Azumarill very low, and it even assures that it's in Brave Bird range. So Skarmory here gonna go for the Brave Bird. This KOs Azumarill, and it gives us the win. Hopping into game number 3, picking up a lead up against Venusaur. This is absolutely terrible for Swagsire. Gonna pivot into my Skarmory, and they respond with Charizard. Now, we do have the potential to flip switch here, especially considering that they went straight Dragon Claw, meaning I do not need to shield this charge move, so I can go for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack here would do some solid damage onto Charizard, so they are going to respect it with the shield. And from here, I'm going to try to get to another move, but Charizard decides to throw their energy. And I did get a shield advantage, so I'm perfectly content letting the Skarmory go down. I am going to wait the switch clock and look to send in the Quagsire again. Quagsire does have a shield advantage in this matchup here, but even from this health range, we can survive any one move. Opponent goes for the Dragon Claw, not going to do a lot of damage, and then they pivot back in the Venusaur. I bring in Talonflame it right off the gate, again sneaking through an Incinerate, and these Incinerates are doing huge damage to this Venusaur, and we're able to get the farm down, which is very nice. Opponent, if they send back in the Charizard, they're going to have to deal with a bunch of loaded energy from the Talonflame, and we're able to get off the Fly. Fly takes out the Charizard, and my opponent has Vaporeon in the back. So a little bit scary, however, we do have shields to hide behind, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And they let the first Fly go through as well, and now all we need to do as the Quagsire is shield once, look to get to the back-to-back Mud Bombs, and we will have enough energy here to take out this Vaporeon. So we're going to go for the first Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb grabs the shield. Mud Bomb number 2 coming through, and this will KO the Vaporeon, and it will give us the win. Hopping into game number 4, picking up a lead, Swagsire into Mew. Mew has a rather unpredictable moveset. I stay in to check the fast move. It is in fact Dragon Tail. Most Mews like to run Shadow Claw, so I was very pleasantly surprised to see Dragon Tail. This means I'm going to attempt the move catch on the Skarmory, where the Dragon Tails will be resisted. Most Mews like to run Wild Charge, so I commit the shield, and it is the Thunder, so that's a huge shield on my part. Gonna go for the Sky Attack. This won't quite KO, but I'm hoping the subsequent Steel Wings afterwards will. And they do, and that's very nice for me. Opponent going to send in a Passimian here. Passimian, not the greatest matchup, because we do have access to both Sky Attack and Brave Bird, both of which hit for massive super effective damage, taking out the Passimian, and then it's Seviper in the back. Seviper not going to have a good time. These poison jabs are doing nothing but the Brave Bird one-shots, and Skarmory sweeps to take the win. Hopping into the final game of this set, picking up a lead into Alola Ninetales. And it's quite ironic that our two flyers actually have better responses to this Alola Ninetales, but we're going to send in the Talonflame. Talonflame here will shield up the Weather Ball to preserve some HP, and it's a good choice because they brought in Aromatisse. Had I not shielded up that Weather Ball, they would have been able to charm me down, but in this case, I shield, and thus, I'm able to farm down the Aromatisse. And I leave with quite a bit of energy as well to threaten whatever else comes in. It's the Alola Ninetales, so I'm going to go for back-to-back Flame Charges here. Flame Charge number 1 is going to grab the shield. Flame Charge number 2 coming through. If they let this go, they will get KO'd. Opponent commits the shield, and I sneak through the Incinerate. I'm going to shield it up just because I'm curious just to see how much damage it does. That does huge damage, and we're able to farm down the Alola Ninetales as well. Poor Clodsire in the back is met with two of its hardest counters, Quagsire and Skarmory, as we get the Earthquake catch, and this all but seals my opponent's fate from here. Earthquake's resisted, my opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. So from here, we're just going to claim our set rewards. We did go 5-0 in this set. The next set is a 4-1. Yes, we actually lose a battle in this, but on the whole, I'm having great success with the team. I believe I'm 16-4 on the day, so you're going to see the second set coming up here in just a minute. Hopping into the first battle of the second set, picking up a lead in that Galvantula. Very nice to catch this on the lead, as our flyers definitely want to avoid this thing in the back. I'm going to go for the Mud Bomb here. And the reason why is because I'm throwing this before the lunge, which means Galvantula is more enticed to shield in that situation. Opponent is going to go for the lunge, but I am able to tank it. And from here, because I threw the Mud Bomb in between the Volt switches, I'm able to get to the Stone Edge just before they get to their next lunge, and Stone Edge one-shots the Galvantula despite being debuffed. Opponent sends in Wall Rain. I'm going to pivot into one of my two flyers in the back, potentially looking to lure out any more potential counters to flying types, but it appears that my opponent is comfortable staying in the matchup. Going to go for the Brave Bird with the shield advantage. Opponent lets the move go through. They save the Wall Rain for later, and it's Mandibuzz in the back. Mandibuzz not going to like the next Brave Bird coming through. Going to do huge damage if it goes through, and Mandibuzz is now below half health. And now, I'm just going to let the Skarmory go. Opponent goes for the Aerial Ace. That was definitely zero bubbled. That should have definitely KO'd me. But nonetheless, Mandibuzz gets in a nice farm down, and honestly, it's not looking too great anymore. Now, I'm going to send in the Talonflame and hope to get ahead on energy. First thing I'm going to do is sponge the move, because I can survive any one move from this health range. Now I'm going to start shielding because Talonflame is starting to get moderately low. It's another Dark Pulse. That would have gotten me very low, but I am able to get the farm down, and all that's left is the Wall Rain. I'm able to get through the Incinerate, and because of that, all I need to do is shield, the Incinerate KOs, and I take the win. Hopping into the next one, picking up a lead up against Unova and Stunfisk. A very positive lead for Quagsire, and I'm very glad that my opponent's staying in as well. My opponent eventually switches out into Politoed and I make a mistake. I panic and I don't throw my energy, and because of this, their one-turn switch is nulled, and now my Quagsire's chipped a little bit. So I send in the Skarmory. Skarmory Steel Wing is resisted here, but so are the Mud Shots. But Politoed has a pacing advantage. I'm going to go for the Brave Bird, expecting them to call a Sky Attack, but my opponent shields correctly, and they shield up the Brave Bird. Opponent going to go for the Weather Ball here, not going to be enough to KO, so I am able to survive that, and they have to throw again to take me out, otherwise I would reach another move. But you know what, I'm actually going to shield the Skarmory, because I want either shields down or switch advantage. But my opponent makes a nice play. They switch the Unova and Stunfisk and deny my energy. That's a very heads-up move by the opponent. Now I'm going to wait the switch clock to even them out. So I'm going to send in the Quagsire. Quagsire has a ton of energy and should do very well here up against the Unova and Stunfisk. Going to go for the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, going to grab the shield, and I go for the next Mud Bomb, but this is a CMP tie. Mud Bomb does some nice damage onto the Unova and Stunfisk, and I was right, it is a CMP tie. Opponent, going to go for the Muddy Water, not going to do a ton of damage, and we do not see the attack drop. Going to go for the next Mud Bomb on the CMP tie, hoping it's enough to KO. Mud Bomb does get the KO. They send in the Politoed, and now I have a pacing advantage up against the Politoed, able to get off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb gets them low, and from here, I'm just going to let the Quagsire go and put my full faith in a Talonflame with a shield advantage. Opponent is able to reach one more Weather Ball before Talonflame is able to farm down, but that's okay. I'm committing the shield. I'm hoping they're weak. They are weak. They send in Beedrill, and Beedrill is getting cooked by the Incinerates. Gonna go for the Fly. That's gonna take out the Beedrill. Can one Incinerate KO? Incinerate KOs the Politoed, and we take the win. Hopping into the next one, leading Quagsire into Froslass. Again, it's ironic that our two flyers are better responses to an ice type, but we send in Talonflame, and it's met with Dragonite. Gonna go for the Fly here. Perhaps they're not anticipating the pacing advantage that Fly brings, and they don't, as they let the move go through, expecting it to be a resisted Flame Charge. And this gives us shield advantage right here. Talonflame able to get through an Incinerate as well, and my opponent's running triple Axle. I do invest the shield, I get the farm down of the Froslass, my opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. Hopping into the penultimate match, leading Quagsire into Shadow Dragonite. Now, I do have access to Stone Edge, but this is a thoroughly miserable lead. Reason being is because Mud Shots and Mud Bombs are double resisted. Going for a very risky Mud Bomb bait here, opponent shields. I look to farm up some more and then switch and catch the Dragon Claw onto Skarmory. Dragon Claw is resisted. Opponent sends in Registeel, and I'm immediately hard punished. Registeel is a very solid wall to Skarmory's energy, and on top of that, Registeel has access to the super effective Zap Cannon. Nonetheless, that Brave Bird still did a tremendous amount of damage onto the Registeel for being even resisted, but that means they could just go for the Focus Blast and save 5 energy. From here, I'm going to bring in the Quagsire and throw 5 Mud Shots, and then go for the Mud Bomb. I'm hoping Mud Bomb here is enough to KO the Registeel, but as you're going to see, it's not. So, I have to invest a shield to this Quagsire because I do want that one-shot potential with the Stone Edge. In comes Dragonite, a very heads-up play for my opponent, and I play into the CMP tie. And that might have very well lost me the game here, as I'm going to go for the Stone Edge, but by shielding up, I revealed that I have in fact thrown the Stone Edge, and on top of that, I throw this Mud Bomb, which is totally unnecessary. What I should have done was switch into the Talonflame, because as you're going to see, they make it to a move, but this is not just any move. It is a Draco Meteor, which one-shots the Talonflame, so had I gone in earlier, I would have gone off the fly first, but we get swept by Shadow Dragonite. But you know we have to end on a positive note, picking up a lead into Skarmory. Interesting lead as we both hit for resisted quick moves, Though Quagsire has a pacing advantage. Gonna go for the Stone Edge, that grabs the shield right away. I try to make the catch onto my own Skarmory, but I'm unsuccessful. And my opponent sends in their own Mud Boy, or should I say Water Boy, in Swampert. Gonna go for the Brave Bird here. This nearly one-shots the Swampert. They're able to make it to a last-second move, so I will shield, but I will be able to win switch advantage. And Skarmory leaves fairly healthy as well, so if they send in their own Skarmory, one move is not going to be enough to KO from this range. They go for the Sky Attack, it does not KO, and I'm able to make it to a Brave Bird. Brave Bird here is going to grab the final shield for my opponent, and now I send in the Quagsire to force them to throw their energy. Quagsire will be able to survive the Sky Attack no problem. I'm going to try to make it to a Stone Edge, but I'm unsuccessful, and now I'm going to commit the shield. I'm hoping from this health range that Stone Edge will be enough to KO the Skarmory. Gonna go for it. Stone Edge has to KO. Stone Edge does not KO, but I'm able to make it to a Mud Bomb, and this will KO. And it's all gonna come down to what's in back. What's in back? It's Drapion. Drapion is running Aqua Tail, so Quagsire is going to go down here. But wait, it's actually Fell Stinger. I'm able to survive and get off this Mud Bomb, and that's game over, because Mud Bomb will do enough damage where I can send in the Talonflame and incinerate Farm down. This is just another Fell Stinger. Fell Stinger does nothing. Talonflame farms down, and we take the win. All in all, it was fun to try out these new buffs. Skarmory and Talonflame looked like they were going to shape up the meta for many seasons to come. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.